because I want to measure exactly how many pixels is it from the left to right there. And that looks to me like, come on, painting program, show me the number of pixels. Is that 271? Okay, let's measure that again. 272. 271 or 272 pixels in from the left side of the screen. So here's what I am viewing. And you see how I'm very carefully diagramming everything I know. So I'm going to say from here to there, 271 pixels. Now I know that Mario's location is what? 410. So that's his feet right there. This is 410. I don't know why I made a dot right there. Go away, dot. Don't want a hole in the atmosphere. So let's fill that in. Go away, hole in the atmosphere. Okay. Good enough. And now let's look at the math I'm using to draw this thing. Okay, I'm drawing my tube at tube.x minus model.mario.x plus 200. Okay, so tube.x is going to be, what's this value here? Getting a little disorganized. Let me close that one. My tube's x is 481. I'm drawing it at 481 minus Mario's x, and we know Mario's x to be 410. So I come back to here, minus 410 plus 200. Whip out the trusty calculator. 481 minus 410 plus 200 is 271, and that's exactly where I'm drawing the tube. Now where's Mario at? He's at 410. Do you see why there's a problem? So 410 is not close to 271. Let's see, 410, 481. I think it finally clicked what the problem is. As you start working through the exact details, you realize I drew this at the tube's x minus Mario model plus 200. You see what I was doing there? I'm drawing my Mario at a position of 200. But then when I changed Mario's feet to be to the right side of Mario, I didn't subtract the Mario's width. So I think I have to have a minus 60 here. I'm always drawing Mario at 200. When I'm adding the 200 here, see I'm assuming that's his left side. When I draw him there, I'm starting his left side, but I'm claiming he's actually at his right side. This should have been a 200 plus model.mario.width. I'm a little unconfident that I've just fixed it, but I think I fixed something. Java game. Let's see how I did. Click. I run. Gonna get a running start. I run. Let's go. And come on. Bam. Yes. Woo. Okay, let's try jumping on the tube. Oh yeah. He's working. Fall off the tube. Back into the tube. That tube is solid. I can't get into the tube. Dang it. There's another bug to fix. I have no idea where Mario is. I'm going to need print statements to tell me because I can't even see, but we're that close. Okay. Oh, so it teleported me down to the bottom of the tube. Oh, genius. I didn't think of that. Thank you. Well, I'll have a solution for you next time. Thanks for coming. Okay, so last time I helped you write this get out of the tube method. And I hope I was somewhat helpful, but in some ways I think I didn't do the greatest job that could have been done. And I hate not doing the greatest job that could have been done, so let me fix some of my mistakes. Here's the problem that occurred at the very end of class last time. Let's say that's the ground. Let's say that's the tube. And let's say this is your Mario character. Now, Mario comes along. Once the Mario's inside of the tube, the logic was, hey, get him back out of the tube, and then it appears that this tube is a solid object and Mario can't get into it, right? And then I did something, I jumped, and what happened? He disappeared. And why did that happen? Well, if you're right up here next to the tube and you got into it and you were pushed back out, you're basically right on the tube, right? And what happens when you jump? You basically go that way. Unless I push to the right while I jump, in which case I go that way. And if I do that, my velocity is more up than down, right? And the way my logic worked was, hey, if you're more up than down, you must have entered through the bottom of the tube. And therefore, we should push you back down. And turns out that's totally wrong, isn't it? You see that? Okay. Did you guys all recognize that and fix my bad logic? If so, awesome, you did really well. If you're struggling with that, well, let me do better. So basically, I use this logic. If you're moving more horizontally than vertically, then you probably entered through the side of the tube, right? After class, I started thinking to myself, why did I do this probabilistically? We don't need to guess which side of the tube you went through. Why don't we just say if you went through the left side of the tube? Wouldn't that be better? So let's do that. Instead of saying if you probably went through the left side of the tube because you're moving more sideways. See, in this case, we're moving more vertical, but the tiny amount of sideways movement is actually what pushed us into the tube. Correct? Yeah, and there's all kinds of, basically, that was just wrong logic, and I'm sorry I presented you with wrong logic. What should the logic really look like? How do we know if we went through this side of the tube? Yeah, nailed it. So here's how you say, did you come through the left side of the tube? If you were here, and now you're there, you went through the left side of the tube, all right? Let's write it that way instead. So instead of this nonsense, sound effects are important. It makes coding way more awesome. Okay, I want to say instead, if what? If x is more than or equal to the tube's x position, and it didn't used to be, prev x is less than tube's position. That basically says I wasn't on the left, I wasn't in it before, or yeah. If I'm in it now, but I used to be on the left side of the tube, then no matter how fast I'm going in any direction, I came in through the left side of the tube, right? So there's better logic. And now I say here, then x is equal to the tube's x. So that lines them back up again, right? Now the slight issue right there, come look at my collision detection. In my does collide method, I said if it's less than, then they didn't collide, otherwise return true. So if they're exactly equal to, then in fact they're still colliding, according to my logic. Now you don't have to write it that way, but that's the way I did my collision detection. Is that how you did yours? Well then, to get all the way out of the tube, that's not quite good enough because this is still in the tube, isn't it? So let's do x equals t dot x minus 1, because now I'm actually out of the tube instead of being exactly right on the tube. Alternatively, instead of subtracting that minus 1, I could come down here to my collision detection and say, if you're less than or equal to, then we don't count that as a collision. And you could decide how you want to consider it. If you want 1 pixel of overlap, does that count as a collision? I don't know. What if the pixels are adjacent but not overlapping? You decide. Let's do it this way just because it's less change. There we go. Okay. Now here, else if I did the left side, should we do the right side next? Okay, what does the right side look like? If x, and I have to subtract my width because remember, x is the right side of my Mario because I did it that way because I'm weird. I'm starting to regret that now. I'm thinking that was actually a bad decision. What do you think about that? Sometimes consistency is the better way. I probably should have been consistent with every sprite, then I don't have to worry about it. But let's see. If x minus the width is less than or equal to the tube's width, tube's x plus the tube's width. So that means I'm in the right side of the tube now. And I didn't used to be, so we'll just write the same thing. Prev x minus width is more than tube's x plus tube's width. Now that looks like some really nasty logic, doesn't it? But can you read it? You get how it's the x position minus the width. Okay. Wait, you can't see my underscores. There we go. That's better. Then, here's bad logic again. Let's change that to else if. What should we do here? It's going to look just like the other one, right? So y is more than or equal to tube's y, and previous y is less than tube's y. Then fix that one. Oh yeah, we got to add the 1 here and subtract the 1 here. Finally, if, help me write the bottom one. How about, oh, that's embarrassing. My belly pushed the open CD tray and the tray came right out and poked me in the belly. That's how you know you're getting fat. Y minus height less than or equal to. I'm actually not even thinking right now. I'm just copying this line, but I'm translating x to y's and w's to h's. See why I'm doing that? Because it's symmetric. Okay, good. Tube.y plus tube.height and prev y is minus height is more than tube.y plus tube.height. And then here I need to add one more, I think. And now I can't stand extra indentations, so I'm going to fix that. I claim that this collision detection won't fail like the other one did because the other one's was heuristic based. It was, if I think I might have moved in the left. This one says if I did move in the left, then do it. So I claim this one is flawless, I hope. Now we'll test it and find out. There's one other case though. What happens if I am in the tube and the previous one was also in the tube? Should that ever happen? No. So should I write code to handle this case? Could not, although, so one thing you really want to never happen in your code is you never want something bad to happen and your code just silently ignores it, right? Because if that happens, then you as a programmer will never know. So what I really should do is at least let myself know. Uh-oh, something bad happened. That's not a very informative message. How about, how the heck did I get in this tube if I was already in it? Shall we see if that fixed it? Let's build game. Come on, let it work this time. Run my Mario. He's stopped by the tube. It looks solid so far. I jump. He's on it. Yay, it's feeling solid. I push, I jump, I go backwards. He doesn't go into it. I believe I have done it. By George, I think I've done it.
Just fine, but sometimes I would get the message saying, uh-oh, I'm in the tube.
Aha, okay.
So that confused me.
Here's why I think that happened. There's a difference I made just today from what I posted on the forum. These -1s and +1s, these are called off by 1 errors. They occur all the time in programming. And the deal is, this code didn't really get you out of the tube without those -1s and +1s because my collision detection says that's still in the tube. I think that would do it because you're in the tube, you call get out of the tube, and then you find that you're actually still in the tube. Now your previous is not outside of the tube.
Yeah, so I guess
Does that make
without
sense?
those on the server.
Are these minus ones to account for the delay in how the program updates its values? The answer is no. This minus one is because I wrote my does collide function like this. I said, if x1 plus width is less than x2, then they're not colliding. If they're greater than, obviously they probably are colliding. But there is this case, what if they're equal to? Is that a collision or is it not? Let's look at this. So this is x plus width is less than the tube's x. This is x plus width is greater than the tube's width. And this is x plus width is equal to the tube's width. Is that a collision? Actually, I think that's not a collision. So I should probably come up here to this and say, if it's less than or equal to, return false. If I do that, then now I don't need these plus ones and minus ones. Let's see if that works, just because we can. What's going on? Oh, the program's still running. Oops, don't need to do that again. Stop. Build. Run. Uh-oh, that didn't work at all. Wow, now it does absolutely nothing. How interesting. I wonder why. Okay. Apparently, there's still a bug in my code if I rewrite it that way. Do you want to debug with me why? Do you guys have enough experience debugging? I think it wouldn't hurt to do it one more time. Here's why. A lot of questions keep coming up that basically amount to this. Hey, my code is doing blah, what's going on? And what you're kind of hoping is somebody else will say, oh, mine did the same thing, your problem is on this line, change it to this. That's cool, but that's not a long-term general purpose solution, right? It would really be better for you as a programmer if you could know how to hunt down your own bugs and fix them. So I really want you to have a little experience using a debugger.